So, hello people of the internet. You've probably seen a lot of these videos around because everyone, well not everyone, but a lot of us, we are feeling the same, but at the same time very isolated. So this is a small video essay. It was not planned. This morning I woke up, I had thoughts, big wow, and I thought I would share them with you. If you're wondering why this eye is bruised, it's because obviously I got an eyebrow piercing and it's still bruised. No, nobody punched me in the eye. Anyway, let's get into it. So this is called feeling behind, comparing yourself to others, and social media toxicity because they overlap quite a lot. So, introduction. Hello everyone, my name is Hoppy and today we are here to talk about the constant, you'll see why I stutter sometimes later on, constant societal pressure to achieve certain goals at certain times and how social media can make us feel inadequate about not reaching those said goals. This is not my normal content, but then again I barely have any. However, if you are interested in strange Club Penguin fanfiction or what a shameless promoting of a book I'm working on surrounding on the internal of the mind, that's a very bad way to describe it. I got to get my things together before I start marketing, but it does center around deeper themes which are reflected in this video, so that's something to think about. And maybe I'll continue talking about these things if it gets a good reception. I'm not planning on it, but just go with the flow, really. So let me give you some context, right? I am 27, I am disabled with 3 invisible disabilities, including partially drug-resistant epilepsy, bipolar, and PTSD. I was born in Texas. I was, however, adopted to Paris and then the UK at an early age. My accent, though, I get told it changes a lot. My mother was from New Zealand, so that should answer some questions. This video essay is not a woe is me piece of so-called literature, and more of a place whereby we can come together with our problems and feel a little less adequate in this world. So we're just going to start what caused my existential crisis, just to see how mine differs from yours, how we got to the same place, which I find interesting because we all end up having an existential crisis at some point in our lives. But this is how I got into mine. Predominantly Instagram. So every 2 weeks I go on Instagram to check in on my birth family in the States and some old friends that I don't talk to that much, but I don't need to because it's that kind of friendship. I'm blessed like that. And every time I go on Instagram, I am tempted to scroll and compare myself to everyone. But normally I don't. I just go to the chats, I talk to people that I want to talk to, and then that's it. But we all slip up. We are human. After seeing, and this was literally like the first post when I went on the app, when I saw that an old classmate is now a famous musician, and then the scrolling started, and then another old classmate is now a famous cook, and I would like to make this very clear, I'm not jealous of them. I am genuinely happy for them accomplishing their dreams. They were 2 people who gave me no trouble and were always nice to me. So what else can I say about them? The problem occurred because I couldn't help compare where they are in life to where I am, because we were in the same class, we were in the same year group. So I felt that those thoughts coming to the front. So what I did was I then closed the app. Problem sorted. Well, obviously not, because here we are. However, this all happened yesterday during the early evening, And by the late evening, which was the first true chilly autumn evening here in London, the rest have been a bit on and off, but we've gotten to the part whereby the days are hot-ish and the nights are now not even like mid, they are cold. So in that kind of season, I always feel in that weather, there's a bit of fog, I felt a bit melancholy, yep. Or so I think the emotion was, I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, the thing about stuttering, yeah, it's a little bit about nerves, but it's also because of epilepsy, and I've had a lot of seizures, and my brain, I'm not brain damaged, but I have long-lasting consequences. Maybe it is called brain damage. MRI, CTs, you know, this isn't interesting. Basically, I stutter sometimes, and there's something else I do. The irony, my memory sucks. The universe loves some irony. Anyway, I went upstairs to do my nighttime routine early so I could hit the hay and start my day afresh. I am Buddhist, and it helps me enormously in life. I just wanted to put this disclaimer that this was a one-off event in regards to the person who created the event. Obviously, the event of me doing a nighttime routine and doing my mantras and prayers, that's not a one-off. But what happened in this particular event was a one-off. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, I wanted to do my mantras, my prayers, and I don't mind this person being in the room with me whilst I do it. All I ask is that they are quiet and respectful for the amount of time it takes. And she genuinely isn't a bad person, but I don't know what happened. Well, I do, and this is it. So as I was doing my mantras, she got a phone call, answered it, continued having that conversation with whoever, and then hung up like nothing had happened. And I was mid-mantra, and it disrupted the flow, everything. And that's not the point. It hurt me greatly, and I felt disrespected, because a lot of people who know me and who knows about religion in general they know it's disrespectful to disrespect other people's religions, even if you don't believe in it yourself. So I mean, we kind of talked about it, not enough, but whatever. I ended up going to bed angry, and I have PTSD, as I already said. So I had 3 nightmares, 3 PTSD induced, all to do with me being unalived. That's another topic I don't really want to go into. In the morning, I felt physically, spiritually, and emotionally awful. So when I went to do my morning mantras, which I really needed considering everything, I picked up my beads and they just kind of collapsed. Normally when a necklace of sorts breaks, it's dramatic. The string like pops and the beads go everywhere. No, it literally just kind of, because I went to put them on and then I felt, hang on, this string's not, hang on, what? They all like collapse. I have them here. It's kind of hard to show you where it got off, but you can see all the extra string where, of course, when I want to show it, I promise, oh, there we go. There we go. This is where it's caught off. In Buddhism, when these mala, I have multiple accents, but still, when they break, it normally means the end of a toxic cycle, which is nice, but I don't have the headspace to think about that quite yet. This is all fresh. So naturally, when the beads were in my hands, I almost broke down in tears, which may sound weird to some, but it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the last thing. And there's one of my favorite Shakespeare quotes is when sorrows come, they come not in single spies, but in battalions. And recently my mental health has been worse. My epilepsy is all over the place. And then this on top is just, and don't get me wrong, I know there are far worse things happening in the world right now. I am fully aware of words I can't say because then it'll get me censored or whatever it's called. I mean, I'm not even monetized, so still. So I know these are small grievings, but at the end of the day, they're the grievings that I'm having. And that doesn't mean I'm not blessed for the things I do have. Just thought I should say that. And all of this was because the things, people, and in general, yeah, let's just say things that I rely on to keep myself steady were breaking or hurting me, even if not intended. And in that moment, I felt like the most useless person. Why useless? It's interesting because everything is hard to describe. I've got notes here, obviously, but it's really hard. I just felt so useless. Like I couldn't even keep my beads together. I couldn't even keep it on the string. I couldn't even just stop to my mantras for a second and ask her to leave. I just then it expanded. As I said, the straw that broke the camel's back, because a lot of you, understandably, would be thinking, okay, yeah, that all sucks, but what's that got to do with being behind? Well, this is what led to it. And then I started thinking about other things that I screwed up, and then I went, surprise, surprise, back on Instagram to try and distract myself by doom scrolling. Yeah, the pause is for you to understand how that worked out, but you're smart, so you didn't need that, so my apologies, and I didn't mean to be condescending. But yeah, then I did more comparing, and it led to a full-blown existential crisis about literally everything. Predominantly, however, right now is hitting that I'm thinking about my life and what I have and haven't done. I know it's hard for some people to understand. This is kind of a repeat of before, but it's important to know. I know it's hard for some people to understand how just a few events led me to this point, but I hope the description above provided some clarity. But yeah, all of this caused vulnerability. All of this stemmed down to vulnerability, social media, and a tired mind. And none of that, none of that makes for a good mix. I'm also writing a book with some of those concepts of troubles of the mind, which doesn't always help with my mental health in general, but there's more positives than negatives because it's free therapy. In fact, if I end up making money off my book, I can't even say it. The vivification concept. I can't say my own book. I'll be dealing, it's been in my head and on papers for so long. Wow. But yeah, it's helped me more than any psychiatrist ever has, and better than any antidepressant, antipsychotic, immune stabilizer ever has. Apart from lamotrigine, or Lamatical, I think it's called in the US. Anyway, part 2. What I've reflected on and how logically I know I'm being illogical. First, I'm going to be saying the issues, what I think, and then apply the logic. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to do this all in one take, otherwise I'm just gonna dip and I will not have the balls or ovaries to do this again. So yeah, I'm 27, I have no career, and lots of people my age do. More the past couple of years because of my epilepsy. My bipolar, which still hasn't been, bipolar is in my medical records, but which one? It hasn't, I'm on a list somewhere. And PTSD, they've reached a level that I am an unreliable worker and I'm a safety hazard to myself. I tried to ignore this for years purely because I want to be fiercely independent, and I had been before everything kicked in. I didn't have these things from birth. What resulted, so let me give you a time frame. Everything kicked in when I was about 22, but I kept myself working till 24. And I had a short-lived range of jobs ruined by seizures, amnesia, which is so dangerous when you're working, the inability to get out of bed, meaning I missed work. That's when I was having a depressive episode. Medications that were so strong, I was falling asleep on the job, or I was like spacing out, and sometimes that looked like I was on, drugs, which technically, yeah, but not. I wasn't spacing out because of the drugs. I was spacing out because my brain doesn't work. And no matter how you say that or the medical proof you show, like at the end of the day, companies don't really care, do they? Some jobs, the first job, let's just say epilepsy, bipolar, and PTSD has destroyed my career. And it's very hard for me to say that because a part of me wants to say, well, it's not just your circumstances, it's what you do. But once you realize your illnesses, and you do have boundaries, and it's very confusing. And even now, I'm still getting to grips with it. And I don't think I'll ever be fully versed in my feelings regarding it. So, next part. Don't get me wrong, I understand that other people at my age, or just in general, don't have a career, but normally for different reasons. I'm not trying to say that my reasons are more dramatic than yours, woe is me, or this, as sympathy does nothing and I do not want it. And to me, it's all the same. If you don't have a career, you are judged, and by society, you are deemed somewhat of a failure. So even though my events are a bit up there, it doesn't matter. I just gave you my example because not alone. I'm stimming with a bracelet. I should probably not because I lost my mic. And yeah, another thing that I would be considered a failure by the world because of is the fact I'm now relying on the British government, meaning benefits, to survive. That is something that has massively hurt my pride and confidence because, as I said, I was and would like to be fiercely independent again, and my soul is still that and is still wanting to be, but I can't be. And I know logically that I can't right now. That's why I'm trying to be an author, because that's my best option along with my strong skills, which is writing, reading, or reading was reading a skill? Writing, creativity, all of that. So this is my best option to get out of being on benefits. I know I'm not abusing the system and that I genuinely need help. It annoys me greatly and personally makes me feel not the person I am. Logically speaking, I know my career prospects are limited, and few out there who are also relying on benefits or whatever you call it from whatever country you're in. I know you may be the same as me, or it's because of, and I'm not naive, I know what the world is like. The job market, the rise of living costs, it's expensive to live, and as a result you have to go on some kind of benefits, and a lot of people, including me, feel like trash for doing so, even though that's what it's there for. But the government and society in general makes you feel terrible for accepting that help. So, the last expectation of society and the world that would label me as a failure because I've not reached this is the whole marriage, kids thing. Now, don't get me wrong, all of that is happening later, but there's still the 1950s kind of mindset whereby in your late 20s, you're supposed to like be married, white picket fence, your career is, you know, skyrocketing, but we've already discussed that. And I feel behind on that too, even though that's not my main late at night can't sleep thought. And there's, personally, I'm not even sure if I want kids. I'm disabled. Like, I would pass on, not, I could pass on predispositions. And even though I'm adopted myself, I don't think I could do it's that. Anyway, this is to do with me. But a lot of people don't want to have kids. A lot of people are waiting to get married later on, and I know still, despite the fact the trend is changing, the figures are changing, the stats are changing, the rules are not changing. A little bit with time, but they are the same. It reminds me of how living costs go up and pay go up, but they're not the same. I do know the word. They don't equally go up, and then it kind of reminds me of that for some reason. I have no idea. My head just spaced out. Anyway, I know logically everyone goes at their own pace, and I think and I think you know that too, that people tend to not show the not so rosy parts of their life online, and when they do, they get labeled as crazy, unless you are a major influencer with a massive base, where in that case you can either be seen as really crazy or inspiring, but that's something else. Logically, caring for the people around you, including your community, focusing on surviving, literally and figuratively, and if possible, fighting for your dreams and aspirations, it's more than enough. And if you do that and you don't do the other things, that doesn't mean you're a failure, but not by the rules of the world that we grow up in. Therefore, try telling yourself that every day and gaslighting yourself into believing that it's okay just to be a good person. Because whilst I genuinely think that's true, the world doesn't. And I think that's quite sickening. You can have days you feel awful, and no amount of gaslighting yourself can make you feel okay. This is because you know what is societally expected of you, in what time frame, and by the said and unsaid rules. Conclusion, finally, thank you for listening so long. Many people may watch this thinking that they haven't got the same problems. Regardless, the mentality is similar, and that's what I've been trying to say. Pain is relative, as is the struggle, and your feelings are valid as well. Also, there are always external factors that play into this that I don't have time nor the energy to go into. Simply talking about this out loud has already helped me understand that it is okay just to survive, but I also get how it doesn't feel that way. Also, this next bit, put on your tinfoil hats, and this is a bit more out there, but the world we live in, as we know, is generated by governments and the elites to make money, and they don't give two tosses if it makes us miserable or anything like that, depressed. They don't care, but you already know that. So this is where the rant ends. I've never been good with goodbyes, so like Randy Newman says in one of his songs, so instead of just goodbye, I say so long. And here is some footage of my cats when I tried to film outside, but they disturbed. needs to be let in. Give me a second. It's back. I have a feeling Romeo might pounce. Do you want to see Romeo? Let's see Romeo. Go on. I know you want to. Are you gonna want to? Edit that. We're gonna edit that bit out. The things / people that I rely on. Hiya.